Continuity.
The name of the last station we visited was Action. There we learned that an integral part of success is action, more action, always action. The name of this station is Continuity, the natural and logical corollary, continuity of action. The great German poet Goethe gave utterance to a timeless truth when he said, "He who moves not forward goes backward." We all know that nothing stands still, nothing remains the same. The essence of life itself is sustained action. However, there is one important point to remember in all action that leads to success. Do not get yourself in the frame of mind where you feel action is based on necessity. It's possible under pressure to spur yourself on to do things, but you seldom reach great heights of accomplishment that way. Your work is not as good as it might be because you've taken no real pleasure in doing it. In order to achieve true success, you must reach the state of consciousness in which all of your actions are based upon a desire to act and not upon a sudden spur of willpower. Seneca, the Roman philosopher, crystallized this thought in a single sentence when he said, "The greater part of progress is the desire to progress." No matter what kind of work you do, don't pursue it primarily because of an urge to make money. It is far better to continue a certain line of endeavor because you enjoy doing it. The money, plenty of it, will come as a natural result of good work well done. Habits are so easy to form, both good ones and bad ones. You may make a good resolution to sustain your continuity of action, to keep on keeping on, but unless you're consistent in your desire to progress, you may become careless and neglect your work for a day or two. When this happens, your enthusiasm disappears quickly, and so does your resolution. Resolve, then, to strengthen each resolution with maintained enthusiasm and continuity of action.
Components.
From a distance, the station we are now approaching might not appear as interesting as many of those just passed, but we're in for a happy surprise. What we will gain at this station will prove of great value to us for the rest of our lives. In physics, we learn that all material substances are composed of minute particles or atoms. Although at the moment we're not going to focus our attention on anything as small as an atom, it does serve to illustrate that every entity is composed of many parts, and if an objective in life is an entity, it too is composed of numerous elements or components. Do you know why so comparatively few people ever attain their objectives? Generally, it's because they keep their attention focused solely on the objective as a whole rather than considering the many component parts of their objective. For example, take a magnifying glass and examine closely any photograph you may find in your daily newspaper. Under magnification, you'll discover that the picture is not an arrangement of solid grays and blacks. Instead, it's made up of thousands and thousands of tiny gray and black dots. They only appear to form solid areas because there are so many of them. In much the same fashion, every completed whole is made up of countless units or components. The modern skyscraper, as impressive as it is, contains uncounted thousands of bricks and pieces of steel. A coast-to-coast trip by automobile, a distance of more than 3,000 miles, may seem like a tremendous undertaking, but when you consider it as a series of short daily drives, it isn't nearly so long. The same principle applies to the accumulation of money. An amassed fortune considered as a whole appears so large that trying to acquire it seems futile. Yet that same fortune is nothing more or less than a collection of much smaller monetary units. It isn't difficult to plan ways of earning a few extra dollars, and when they're saved regularly, they multiply much faster than you think. Later, you can invest those dollars, and the day will soon come when the money you've kept will keep you.
Analysis, synthesis.
There is a marked resemblance between what we learned at the last station, components, and that which we will learn at this one. Webster defines the word synthesis as composition or combination of parts to form a whole, also the whole thus formed. In our pattern of progress, when we think of our objective as a completed whole, we are synthesizing it. At this station, we'll learn to become analytical. For example, consider an ordinary watch as such, synthesis. We'll consider the many intricate parts which make it tick, analysis. At this point in our journey, you should also gain an appreciation of observation and concentration. The more you understand and practice both of them, the easier it will be for you to make great strides through the use of the knowledge you have gained thus far. We all see, very few of us observe. Seeing is merely scanning the panorama constantly within range of our sight. Observing is mentally recording that which the eye sees and storing it for future use. Developing your powers of observation will aid you materially with your analysis of the components that make up your objective. Make it a practice to observe what you see. Just to test yourself, you might try selecting different routes going to and from work every day. Then observe, note, and remember everything you see. As your powers of observation grow, you'll get infinitely more out of life. No matter what you do, the business of living can't become boring because your mind will be active with interesting thoughts. Concentration shares equal importance with observation. Concentrating means focusing attention on any object or subject until you have gained a full and complete understanding of it. You'll master the art of concentration the moment you become concentration conscious. Don't alibi or excuse yourself by saying, "I can't concentrate." You can if you hold an "I can" thought, and you will if you persevere. Use this idea. Say to yourself, "I possess great powers of concentration. I can focus my mind on any thought or subject until I choose to dispose of it." You'll be pleasantly surprised to discover how much your powers of concentration will improve. Any subject can be synthesized and analyzed for your greater happiness and profit when you learn to observe and concentrate.
Major, minor.
In thinking of your objectives, do some of them appear so monumental they seem to be beyond your ability to achieve? If so, you must learn to divide them into majors and minors. Hereafter, think of your objective as your major objective, then break it down into smaller or minor objectives. Remember what you previously learned. Your objective, now your major objective, must be specific. You must know exactly what it is you wish to accomplish. Now take your first minor objective, and until it is attained, give it the temporary rank of major. Lay aside any thoughts you may have regarding any succeeding minor objectives. You are concerned only with the first one. Now consider all the resistances that stand between you and the attainment of that objective. Formulate a plan to remove them, and once that is accomplished, use the procedure with the next minor, temporarily major objective. As a hypothetical case in point, suppose you are a small manufacturer. Your major objective is to produce a new product, place it on the market, and gain national distribution. Your competition would probably be similar products with established distribution and huge advertising budgets. The prospects of success, judged solely from this point of view, would seem rather dubious. You, however, have learned the wisdom of major and minor objectives. Consequently, in this particular case, you don't strive immediately for national distribution of the new product. Instead, you arrange first for local distribution. Once this objective is attained, you move forward to the market bounded by your state. Later, your product finds regional sales, and finally, national distribution, which was your original major objective. A much simpler illustration would be your desire to master a musical instrument, the piano, for example. If you think only of your major objective, competent musicianship on the piano, The task will seem impossibly hard and long, but if you reduce that formidable major objective into a series of minor ones, lessons and practice periods over a predetermined span of time, you'll reach your major objective much sooner than you expect. Just remember this: everything becomes smaller and easier to attain when you reduce it to minor units.
A new life pattern.
We are now approaching the station on our journey, which will undoubtedly mean more to you than any of those we've already visited. The reason is because the accent is on you. Here, through concentration and your new I can attitude, you'll acquire all of the laudable characteristics you admire in others. You'll now begin the construction of an entirely new life pattern. You will be the master of yourself. Probably the greatest difficulty anyone has to overcome before acquiring self-mastery is the acceptance of the realization that he can master himself. Psychological studies made of those who suffer from fear, timidity, and sense of inferiority clearly indicate that most of those people have no idea they could react to life in any other way. But regardless of anyone else, you, from this moment on, are going to see yourself as you want to be. And since the process may require some change of habit, it will be accomplished sooner if we break it down into steps. Step number 1, begin now to think of yourself and see yourself as you'd like to be. Don't resort to wishing. Imagine yourself as being your own master under any and all circumstances. See yourself in the presence of others with perfect poise and self-assurance. Know that others like you because you like others. Step number 2, since it is true that you are what you think you are, it will be necessary to change the mold pattern of your thinking if you are to alter the effects of your thinking. Hold this thought: I am master of my being. Keep it uppermost in your mind at all times. Repeat it over and over again when you awaken in the morning, frequently during the day, and especially before retiring at night. Step number 3, do not watch for results. If you do that, it will indicate doubt as to the efficacy of the principles you're using. Instead of looking for results, know that they are there. Your new positive mental picture will begin growing immediately. In acquiring self-mastery, don't overlook the elimination of habits you'd like to overcome. For example, if excessive smoking, drinking, or gambling have been holding you back, don't think defeatedly, I can't stop that habit. Concentrate on the fact that you are the master of yourself and that you can stop any habit at any time. Under those conditions, you'll find that you will stop, and without either mental or physical travail.
Your first plateau.
We've arrived at your first plateau, but we won't remain here very long. We'll stay only until we become thoroughly accustomed to the many blessings and possessions we've acquired on this journey. Right now, we are ready for a great transition. Our self-made Shangri-La is one that is definitely real to our mental selves and clearly visible to our mind's eye. Our physical eyes see the same environment we saw before we started on the journey, the same house, the same wardrobe, the same occupation, and the same financial situation. But our attitude toward all of our physical possessions of the past has changed completely. Any feelings of discouragement or self-pity we may have held have vanished. We know a new confidence that we never had before, because we now have a clear vision of the kind of life we want, the life we know will be ours. In your position as our honored guest and passenger, you have learned that you can accomplish great things, and you have resolved that you will accomplish them. This realization, however, would not be complete unless you add another great truth. The word will has an indefinite aspect. You may decide that you'll do a certain thing, but the time for action is not fixed. It could be tomorrow, next month, next week, or next year, and it could even be several years from now, and as long as you did it, eventually, you would be keeping your promise to yourself. But by the very postponement of action, you're denying yourself the realization of everything you seek. Begin today creating a mental pattern of yourself as one who does things now. Know that after you choose an objective and your reasoning faculties determine it is one you can attain, you will make a start as soon as possible. Picture yourself as synonymous with action. You'll soon reach a point where it will be impossible to waste time in beginning any course of action that will result in your ultimate good.
New trails to blaze.
Although it is only a very short time since you started this journey, and it would be physically impossible for you to attain your objectives or even part of them within such a limited span, I want you to assume that your objectives are realities, because they will be realities. When you first began mapping your journey, you started thinking in terms of material things which you felt would make you happy. It seemed as though you had encompassed everything. But remember the axiom, nothing stands still. It either moves forward or backward. As long as you remember this, you can't possibly go backward. Then, with your estate well established, your future secure from a financial standpoint, you'll naturally give consideration to those phases of life which will keep your interests alive always. For after your objectives have been fulfilled, you have the golden opportunity to do some of the things you've always wished to do. Maybe you've envied people who have developed musical talents. Wouldn't it be fun to take up some musical instrument and to become proficient as a musician solely because you wanted to do it? Or there are several other arts which you might find equally satisfying. Men such as Sir Winston Churchill and Dwight Eisenhower have found painting to be a tremendous source of creative enjoyment. Perhaps you too might enjoy expressing some of your ideas in color. Another personal satisfaction is writing. Some of the best composition of both fiction and non-fiction has been written by men and women in their senior years. You might enjoy it. There's only one way to find out. Try it. The journey which you're just completing will never return you to your former way of life. It is the beginning of more abundance and happiness than you have ever known.
Retrospection, inspection, anticipation.
Up to now, we have been concerned with the past, present, and future by changing thought patterns established in the past. We are aware that our actions in the present will bring the type of future we desire. It might be well, however, at the close of our journey, to consider the past, present, and future specifically, that is, their relation to each other. There are two distinct phases of the past, material and memory. Every material possession you own is from the past. The house where you live, the clothes you wear, the car you drive, and the food you have on your pantry shelves. Memories of the past are sometimes disconcerting. Actually, everything of the past should be considered constructively. Your material possessions are just stepping stones to better possessions that you will acquire in the future. And by the same reasoning, memories of past experiences should be considered principally as lessons for the future. The journey we've just completed started in the past and ended in the past, but it will prove to be the most important expedition you've ever taken. You've revised your viewpoint of life completely. You now know beyond any doubt that the future is of your own making and that you can alter it to suit yourself. Your present is an extremely fine line separating your past from the future. Your actions during the present were directed by thoughts of the past and will conclude in the future. The future, of course, must be your principal concern. Most people exist from day to day merely letting things happen to them. But those who have completed this journey will live a happy and prosperous future because it will have been planned. Right now, at this moment, you are seeing your future as you want it to be. You also know that your subconscious mind, your mental powerhouse, is guiding your thoughts and actions. Thus, you will take whatever steps necessary to bring one of your objectives into being. Never again will you be satisfied to accept anything from life which is not your rightful heritage.